Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, what did you get up to this week?
Oh, my goodness. What a blast we had. The latter part, as you all know, of spring break, of course, and then also all the basketball, of course, March Madness is still hopping and baseball's really getting in the groove. But then we have the Arkansas Derby and a little bit of fishing along the way. And yes, it was a very active week once again. I know you were very active. You got a little bit of bronze to you right there, a little suntan maybe.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll actually start wearing sunscreen. At least my wife hopes so. Yeah, what a week it was. Bright, sunshiny, sunburn weather at the beginning of the week. And of course, as we begin this week's show, our thoughts go out to everyone affected by the severe weather in Arkansas this week. What a season. What a weather season here in the natural state. Tracy, this week I had the opportunity to rewatch one of my favorite sports movies, Moneyball, with Brad Pitt.
Oh, my gosh.
It's back on streaming services on April 1st. It came back on and said, no, I'm going to sit down and watch that thing. And now that I've watched it again, it's like the fourth time I've seen the movie. Right. Now I look at everything with I just have numbers flying around my head and data analytics, and it has the brain working and moving. And all this to say, from an analytical standpoint, I've been analyzing your March Madness brackets, and I've determined, based on my calculations, that I owe you an apology. I do. I owe you an apology because I remember 4 and however many weeks ago, whenever we released our March Madness brackets, yes, we did choose the same champion. And yes, our champion is still in play. But you went safe? Maybe safe with the bracket. You chose all 4 number 1 seeds to make the Final Four, despite the fact that has not happened in 17 years, and despite the fact that this year's pool was the strongest pool that you could argue in March Madness history. You decided all 4 number 1s are going to represent the show in the Final Four, and Tracy, you were right. You got track talk for March Madness, or is that coming soon?
I'm not going that far, Mark. But you know what? I just felt like they were the better teams at the time. I really do not. Had nothing to do with conference championships. I was just looking at stats, same as you. I was taking a number out of your book, to be honest. And I was looking at stats and looking at bench. And when you play this many games, you got to go deep, and it's just that simple. And both brackets had semi-deep benches, except for the top 4. And that's what I was looking at. And if you look in the top 4 right now, they play 8 and 9 guys. Every one of them. They did it all season long. And particularly during March Madness, you've got to have deep benches. The last team that really made an impact and was a Cinderella story was North Carolina State. And we all recall that. Mm-hmm. They went with 6 players. And that was the last time. And, of course, they beat a big-time Houston-favored team, of course, with Elijah Wan and all. You know what I'm talking, this 5-Jam Slamma.
Yep.
And but that was the last time. So that's the way I diagnosed this whole thing, was just going with deep. And also it doesn't hurt with some of the better players, too, as we will go into this a little bit later on. Some of the star players are on all 4 of these teams who have led them to the Final Four.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it. It's been since 2008 since we saw all 4 number 1 seeds make it to the national semifinal. This is the first time in 10 years where more than 2 number 1 seeds even made it to the Final Four. That's pretty interesting to me as well. The only team that I have left standing on my bracket is my champion, which is Florida, also your champion as well. But this is an unprecedented show of strength this season in San Antonio as we get into these games that'll be played later today. So there's a data analytics website. It's called KenPom, KenPom. And from a Moneyball perspective and a number crunching perspective, this is a really interesting website to look at that breaks down all sorts of numbers and figures and statistical data on these college basketball teams. And this has been around since 1996 or so. So it's been around for a while. And it's very interesting when you look at the Final Four teams left. So since 1996, this current Duke team from this year is ranked the second best college basketball team in the past 30 years. Mm-hmm. Houston is ranked 6th best in the past 30 years. Florida number 8, Auburn number 10. This Final Four, when it comes down to brass tacks, features 4 of the greatest college basketball teams, statistically, that we've seen in the past 30 years in the sport. So let's break it down a little bit. We've got a huge matchup to start things off, an SEC rivalry battle, Florida, Auburn. Wait, I picked Florida at the start of this thing. They came in, they won this SEC tournament. They were moving up and forward and then in the right direction. Auburn had lost 3 of 4, kind of skidding into and out of the tournament. These two teams faced off once already this year, where Florida was able to take that win, what I would say fairly comfortably as well. And now they'll face off with a trip to the championship game on the line. Who do you like, Florida or Auburn?
Mark, same as you, we agreed on this, Florida, but I'm going to be honest with you right now. I don't know if Florida's playing their best ball. I'll be honest with you. You've got their number 1 player going number 2 in the draft, and he is just that. He is really good. But he's now starting to come along. I mean, he's getting hot. But I've not seen the bigs down low doing what they were doing during the tournament and such. They're not getting in the paint. They're not getting the rebounds that they were, nor are they shooting free throws like they were consistently doing. Auburn, on the other hand, maybe a little sentimental after one of the best players in the league, the SEC player of the week, he got hurt. What'd he do? Came right back out in the game, thumped a 3, and then went on from there to win a sentimental game. So is Auburn playing their best game? Is their best player going to play in the game full strength? Obviously not with the elbow the way it is. But I hate to say it, I want Florida because I get not on the money line or anything, but I picked them to begin with. But I feel like Auburn's playing better right now. I'll be honest with you.
I think Auburn is playing the same right now. And that's not a slight at Auburn. Mm-hmm. I'm on record now for like 4 weeks in a row talking about how Auburn is the weakest number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, and it still may be even going into the Final Four. Mm-hmm. But it's weird to call them a dark horse as a number 1. But as you look at what the other 3 teams can do, have done, Auburn has just continued to play the same level of basketball. Getting Johnny Broome back from injury was certainly helpful. He had the game of his life in the Elite Eight. Just being fair with you on that one. But Florida, what I like most about this Florida team is their ability to go on big runs. Ken Pom calls it the kill shot factor. Okay. That's their technical term for it. And it basically means Florida can, and at any moment, just explode and sprint away from the opponent. We're looking at those 10-0 runs, those 11-0 runs. They had an 11-0 run over Maryland in the Sweet 16. They had a 10-0 run early against Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. Walter Clayton Jr., probably a name you've heard a lot this postseason. He plays a massive role in this. In this tournament alone, he's had 2 games with 20-plus points, and against Texas Tech, he dropped a 30-burger on the Red Raiders. According to the statistics in Ken Pom, a team with at least one 10-0 run in a game wins 71% of the time. And of course, the team with the more kill shots than its opponent wins 81% of the time. But Florida entered the tournament with 31, what they call kill shots this season, and only allowed 10. That puts him as a huge favorite here. Now, when it comes to offense, yes, Florida can go on these big runs, and statistics tells us that when that happens, they typically win the basketball game. What could disrupt that in this basketball game is actually the defense of Auburn. I mean, make no mistakes, the Tigers have 3-point shooters that are capable of getting hot, and they can go toe-to-toe with Florida in the scoring sector, but it comes down to defense. They force opponents to switch their style, sometimes causing them to scramble. They're a top 5 shot blocker in the nation. They very rarely give up threes, and they've been holding opponents to a bottom 10 shooting clip on the few threes that they do give up. Auburn was the best team in the country most of the regular season coming into this thing. And it really wasn't until the Gators took control of the SEC tournament, super stacked tournament, by the way, that they really overtook Auburn as the team to beat coming out of the SEC. I think that this is going to be a very good matchup here, but I believe that Florida has more gas in the tank than what Auburn can defend.
I think the bench will come back and prove you right, Mark. I really do. But here's another. I don't know if this is going to be a factor, but I feel like it is. Is it going to be a close game, do you think? You say they're going to go on this kill shot run. But if it does come down, Florida's got the better free throw shooting team. Have you seen the percentages on Auburn?
This is also true.
It's horrible.
This is also true.
And if it comes down to a close game, Florida's going to walk away. I'm just saying I don't see Florida. They've had to come from behind a couple of times on those runs like you're talking about. And with that, they've made it to the free throw line, not as much as they have during SEC play. I didn't say that they hadn't made it there. I just said not as much, but they are making those big runs. And if they do that, I don't think the bench for Auburn can stay with them.
These are all number 1 seeds, Tracy.
Right.
And there's I'm literally choking to death on Crow because there's so much in my mouth this season. Here's the deal. I can't slight Auburn in that regard. For me to say that Florida comes out and runs away with this game, even a double-digit victory, I think is maybe stretching it a little bit. Hey, Auburn deserves to be here in the Final Four. Even if I was really against them, they have earned the right to be here. Now, it'll take a bit of a huge comeback, I think, to upset Florida to go to the title game, but nothing can be ruled out whenever you discuss these number 1 seeds. Everyone left is battle-tested. I just think Florida has more guys that want it more.
Yeah, well, I do too. And on the other side, wow. Can anybody beat Duke right now?
I mean, this is literally the top offense in the game versus the top defense in the game. It's everything that you hope for. This is kind of being regarded as the championship game in the Final Four between Duke and Houston. Duke, led by Cooper Flagg, they're 35-3. The Cougars are 34-4. Spot in the national championships on the line. Hey, whoever wins this matchup probably goes into the title game as the favorite. And that's after everything I just said about Florida. But Duke and Houston played for the first time last season. The Blue Devils did beat Houston 54-51 in a Sweet 16 matchup down in Dallas. Duke is 8-0 against teams from Texas in the NCAA tournament, including a victory over Baylor in Raleigh. Duke and Houston have combined to post a 61-2 record collectively. They're 61-2 since Thanksgiving of last year. The Cougars have the nation's longest winning streak at 17 games. The Blue Devils are on a 15-game run right now. This feels everything like a championship game, but Tracy, I'll be honest, the difference maker in this game is likely going to go number 1 in the NBA draft, and that is a young man by the name of Cooper Flagg for the Duke Blue Devils.
And he's not going to be yelling just bingo, right? Here's the deal. As it is right now, this kid's playing, I mean, he's balling right now. Of course, he has all year long. We know that. But, I mean, the reason I'm saying that is because look at him. He's leading not only, but he's not leading in scoring, okay? He's leading in assists. And also, you know the way that Duke, and once again, I'm going to bring this up, and I harp on this all the time, you know that, free throws. And you know how important those are going down at the end of the stretch, especially in a tight game. They don't miss free throws. It's just that simple. Houston has a little bit of a problem with that, and that could be the deciding factor. But going back to Flagg, this kid is remarkable. I mean, look at the dishes that he served all through this tournament. And then when they call his number, yeah, he'll go to the hole, or he'll step back and punch one up. I don't know, a la Larry Bird. I'm not going there yet, okay? But I'm just
he's
telling
bright,
you.
though.
But, dude, when he gets ready, he's on fire. And he deserves to be number 1.
Duke is averaging 92 points per contest throughout the NCAA tournament this year. Best out of all teams in contention by far. Now, you have to credit Houston's defense. We've been talking about defense with the Cougars. And yes, defense does win championships. They held a very good Tennessee team to 15 points in the first half in the Elite Eight. This is not a team that appears to be running out of steam anytime soon. It's going to be the top offensive player, Cooper Flagg, versus the top defensive player, Joseph Tugler. He's the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Those two will most likely be matched up against each other. Tugler is 7th in the nation in blocking percentage and does very, very well to limit shots down low. But like you said, it doesn't have to go through Cooper Flagg in order for Duke to win. They average 92 points per game. He's an assist machine. They dropped 100 on Arizona in the Sweet 16. This will be a matchup of how long can Tugler and the rest of his defense for the Cougars hold off what we expect to be an offensive barrage early.
Well, they can't, and here's the deal. You can't double down on these guys like Houston does a lot. Okay, the other teams, you see them go over, when they switch sides, you see a double down a lot, not only in the paint, but at the elbow. And that's how they keep a lot of these defenses, offenses from scoring, is that they double down on them. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they double down on Duke, they're going to pay for it. I'm going to tell you that, because anybody can score at Duke's level. I mean, all of them. And you're right, Tugler's one of the best, but he's going to have some help with Flag. And that's the way Houston has been working it all year long. They double down quick. They do switches real quick, not only down in the paint, but down in the right at the elbow, where you always get those 13 to 15, jump shots. And it's not all threes with Duke. And if they go down in the paint, they're going to get hacked. There's real simple. I mean, that's just that way. You were talking about last week, about the bad boys. Well, I'm going to tell you what, Houston, they like pushing on you. They do it all the time.
Oh, yeah. So, when we started this all off, before the tournament began, you picked your finals. You picked Florida and Houston.
Yep.
Does anything change going into tonight's games?
Nope.
No.
I'm good.
I picked Florida and Alabama. Oopsies on that one. So I have to pick a new champion out of the right side of the bracket. I believe taking on Florida in the title game, I do believe that it will be Duke, and I do believe that it will be a game for the ages. So, hey, we differ somewhere. We all find out tonight. Florida and Auburn go to battle at 5:09. Duke and Houston at 7:49. Both games on CBS. Let us know your picks. Text us right now before the games start. You can text us at 501-915-1300. Hey, we got to talk some baseball when we come back. Don't go anywhere. This is Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE.
Second quarter coming up.
And we're back. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com, and we are on iHeartRadio. Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, I said I talked about Moneyball, of course, and, big strategies, trying to find ways to win games. And I think there's one team in MLB right now that is catching a little bit of heat, fairly, or maybe even unfairly, for a new system, a new way of playing the game. Tracy, the Bronx Bombers, the New York Yankees, have added literal torpedoes to their arsenal. The Yankees have officially launched what's called the torpedo bat, and the era began in opening day weekend with multiple players using a modified bat during the team's historic offensive onslaught to open the 2025 season. The victims, the poor Milwaukee Brewers, as the New York Yankees hit 9 of their MLB record-tying 15 home runs in their first 3 games, used by 5 players using these new styles of bats. It was a franchise record, and they hit 9 homers in the 20-9 rout over the Milwaukee Brewers. Okay, so what is a torpedo bat? So if you think about a torpedo missile that is shot out of a submarine, the wood of the bat, if you picture a standard baseball bat, the wood is thicker as you get down towards the end, but a torpedo bat shifts that bulky wooden area really down lower toward the batter's hands, creates a custom sweet spot, really where the contact is most frequently made, gives it a little bit of extra pop, helps the baseball go a little bit farther. It has the shape of a torpedo, some call it a bowling pin style, which has been showing a little bit of results here. Now, I have to tell you, is this the first time that this bat has ever been used? No, it is not. This batting style has been around for a few years, but whenever one team starts having a large amount of success with it, that's when everyone else starts asking questions and starts talking about it, much like we're doing right now. Now, also, you have to make the argument, if this was a story about the Miami Marlins having torpedo bats and breaking home run records, it may not be as newsworthy, but this is the New York Yankees. This is America's team. This is the team that was just in the World Series 1 year ago and has one of the best offensive players in the league in Aaron Judge, and a whole slew of other guys in black and white pinstripes that are really good also. Tracy, I know that this one's been near and dear to your heart. And of course, when I walked into the studio this morning, Tom Nichols came to me and said, you better talk about those torpedo bats. I said, I got you covered. But Tracy, based on what you've seen, based on what you've heard so far, is this a big deal or a nothing burger?
I think it is for, just like you said, not only for the Brewers, but the ones that are coming up against us. But just like anything, hey, you can't beat us, so join us. But you're right, Mark. This has been around for a couple of years now, of course, with the minor league team. Aaron Lienhart came up with this years and years ago, and he's been trying to get this in the league for a long time. And, of course, it had to go through the process, and not only is he a hitting coach and stuff like that, but the dude's an MIT graduate. He knows exactly, like you were talking about, getting all the bells and whistles right to where what they call the sweet spot on the bat and that kind of deal. So, no, this worked with their minor league team. They actually even used it up at the University of Michigan. They've had it around a while. It just took a while to get through the hoops. And then all of a sudden you got to say, well, who's gonna take it on, so to speak? And, of course, he was working for, the teams underneath the Yankees. So why not better to bring it out and bring it out big? And who can you bring it out with the biggest? New York City. And, of course, the biggest around, the Bronx Bombers. And sure enough, but it made waves just like they wanted. Exactly that. Now, have bat sales gone up? Yeah, so to speak. It's relatively inexpensive still. But the main thing is it's not for everyone, but what it is for, it's just the same as different styles of baseball mitts. Catchers are using different mitts these days. First basemen are using different mitts these days. But the style of hitting has changed a little bit. But, Mark, what it's going to do is make the game, I think, a little bit more interesting. But then again, you got to look here. Who's the leading home run hitter? Judge. He's not using it. He's sticking with the traditional bat.
That is correct. And we're going to get to that here more in just a second. One of the questions that's really being asked right now, why is this allowed? They're hitting a bunch of home runs with this. How is this possible? Are they cheating? Is this the Houston Astros trash can scandal? Is this PEDs? Is this steroids? No. This is none of that, because believe it or not, this is actually legal. And here's why. Major League Baseball has relatively uncomplicated batting rules that just says specifically has to be smooth, round stick. It can't be more than 2.61 inches in diameter.
Correct.
And the thickest part can't be more than 42 inches in length. And it has to be one piece of solid wood. And that's about it. Now, when Major League Baseball made Rule 3.02, did they suspect that somebody was going to use physics and analytics to change the game? I doubt it. And that is why MLB is currently looking into torpedo bats to see if changes need to be made, if this piece of hitting architecture needs to be banned or disallowed. All of those discussions are beginning to happen right now. But like you talked about it, of course, we go back to that game, the record-breaking game, and side tangent here. I watched the announcer call of this happening. In this game, the Yankees hit back-to-back-to-back home runs, 3 in a row, literally on the first 3 pitches of the game. It's never been done before. Now, in that game, it was Nestor Cortez and then Cody Bellinger, both hitting back-to-back home runs with the torpedo bat. And then, like you said, Aaron Judge came up and hit the third one in a row on literally the third pitch of the ball game using a traditional bat. One of baseball's best hitters, top 2 hitter, if you compare to Shohei Ohtani, top 2 hitter in the league, is not using this bat. But so many others are that are not New York Yankees, like Ellie De La Cruz, the big phenom over in Cincinnati, and so many more are starting to adopt this style of bat. And many of them say, I like the way that it feels. I like the way that the bat feels in my hands. The ball feels coming off of the bat. I think this could really change the game. No surprise, most members for the Milwaukee Brewers are calling for the bat to be banned. And even some front office executives also think the bats will be banned, unfortunately speaking under the condition of anonymity, because you just don't know if it's the Brewers talking about that or if it's another team talking about that. But it's amazing how over 100 years into this game, we continue to find ways to change the game, make it a little bit more exciting. And hey, even in the 90s, even before the shadow of PEDs and steroid use, that you can't tell me that the home run race between Sosa and McGwire was not the most exciting time of baseball in decades.
Anything, Mark.
It got tarnished down the way, but, I'm on the fence on whether or not this is a big deal or not. I don't think that it is, because I think it's just people using their brains and using science. This is not sign stealing and bashing garbage cans. This is using science and physics and analytics to try to get it done. And I do have to tell you that at the time of this recording, even though the New York Yankees are the biggest adopter of this torpedo style of bat, they're still sitting at the time of this recording 3-2. They're third in the AL East, 2 games behind the Blue Jays, 1 game behind the Rays. So it's not that they're hitting home runs every single at bat. It still requires you to hit the ball and get on base and dissect the pitch coming your way. So I don't think it's been an absolute game changer quite yet, but I think that it could have those implications. We'll see.
Well, Mark, and you're right. This is nothing new. Look, not that the MLB needs, they could use it. Of course, Ohtani and the rest of them, and everything's happening right now. And everybody could always use some exciting news to ramp up the TV audiences and such. And you know that as well as I do. There's nothing new to that. But you go back to George Brett, you go back to the tar bats, you go back to whatever the case is. You're more of a baseball fanatic than me. But, ball bearings and bats, this goes back.
Yeah.
Baseballs with,
corked bats with
pine tar. Baseballs with Vaseline, with every spit, with everything you
right
can
now
think on
it's stick 'em.
The stick 'em, okay? And, and of course, and then you'll see at the beginning of the game, you will see the ump go out there and check the hat,
check the glove,
and then check around the waistline too.
Oh yes.
And then he'll even go down the arms, the forearms and such. So this is nothing new. Is it hyping up to get more media promotion? I don't think so. I think this is like you were saying. I think this is a time when they're using a little bit of ingenuity. And why would they not allow it just because it's helping out some others? This is nothing new. What is it called? When they haul out the top of the bat, when they did that, the very top of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, really? Did that help? I mean, think about it.
Everybody's trying to get an advantage because just like the movie Moneyball, which I promise you I will reference in every single segment of this show this week, the little guy is always trying to find a way to get even and level the playing field with the big guy. It's just unfortunate right now that the big guy has found a way to step ahead. So at this point blank, will MLB do anything about these bats this season? Yes or no?
No.
I agree.
No.
I agree, because I think what is good for offense is good for the game. It's good for viewership. It's good to bring money into the game. And if this is allowed, and if it's accessible, and if it's available to every team, then I don't see a problem with it.
I can tell you right now, the OJ's money. That's all it's about, babe. That's all it's about. The dollar sign. And I'm going to tell you right, you're right. If they're needing a little bit of help right now, even early in this season, because you got a lot of competition out there. You got a lot of competition for TV time.
Send 100 of them to the south side of Chicago.
Boom.
Stat. My White Sox are number 1 in the AL Central at 2-4.
Can you believe that? Everybody in there is under 500. That's amazing to me.
And I would lose all credibility if I did not tell you that it's a 5-way tie for first. Everyone is 2-4. What a mess.
But what kills me there is that everybody there under 500 in that division. But anyway.
And the White Sox have had 6 home games.
Yes.
And they're 2-4. It's going to be a great year.
It's because you're not there. Okay? You're gonna. Why did you go to Dallas for spring break and not go to Chicago?
Because it wasn't opening day yet. I missed it by 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to support the Send Mark Oliver to Chicago Fund, you can send me baseball tickets, plane tickets, or just gas money. You can text us right now.
That's tough.
All right. When we come back, we've got to talk a little NBA. The postseason picture is developing quickly, but one team in particular is moving in the wrong direction. We'll tell you more when we come back right here on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE, and online at kvre.com.
Third quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE and streaming online at kvre.com with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, on this week's show, we have talked college basketball. We've talked MLB. Let's switch gears and talk NBA action here. With just a few games to go in the regular season, the playoff picture is developing quite rapidly. And in the Eastern Conference, all 10 teams that we know are making the postseason have been decided. Their seeds are still up for grabs. But in the West, things are still a little bit wild. One of the top dogs in the NBA all year long, who's been hovering in the number 2 seed for the majority of the season, has been going anywhere but in the right direction as of late. As of their past 10 games, they're 2-8. They've lost 4 in a row. And after a 9-game losing streak to top-tier teams, that's teams with a 500 record or better, leadership in Memphis decided to make a change. They fired their head coach, Taylor Jenkins, the winningest coach in Memphis Grizzlies history. He's been there for 6 years and has really developed the Grizzlies into a top contender in the West, bringing in the likes of Ja Morant, who is absolutely the face of a franchise, and developing other great superstars like Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane, and bringing in Zach Edey, the former Purdue Boilermaker who did great things on the college basketball scene last year. This is a really good basketball team. They are 12 games over 500. They're at 579 at the time of this recording, but they have slipped for the number 2 spot to the 8th spot. Typically, for a winning team and one that is projected to make some noise, at least in a very tough Western Conference, this comes as quite a shock, where many NBA analysts did not see this move coming, but something inside the locker room had to indicate that Jenkins was not the guy to take this team the rest of the way, based on the way that the Grizzlies have played basketball this season. And yes, I told you that I would reference Moneyball with the NBA, and here it is. The Grizzlies have been very experimental this season. They've tried to adopt new features for the team and really looking at offensive concepts that are taken from European ball squads in Germany and France and what you see on the Olympic level, and trying to adjust player spacing in terms of footing on the floor and movements and formations. And that seems that it's been working to some effect for the team. But as we get into crunch time, as we get down to the nitty gritty and where we're starting to finalize those playoff positions, the Grizzlies look like they will still make it to the big dance, but where they stand could be anybody's guess. Did this move shock you?
Absolutely. But here's the deal, though, Mark, and we've brought this up time and time again, and I'm not dissing anybody. It's not for me to, cut anybody down when they're not here in front of me and take up for themselves. But it just seems like the players in NBA are getting away with a lot more these days. And coaches, managers don't mean flip. I'll be honest with you. They don't have the run. If you did this with a coach back in the day, as they say, you'd be out the locker and out of a job. Nobody else would want you. These days...
Well, the coach was the leader of the team.
Right. And you just don't have that no more. So, and here's what's going to happen, just like you're saying right now. You have a team that doesn't have a coach and thinks they can take it on. That's like going to court without a lawyer, okay, in a federal case. It's just that simple. Look, coaches are obviously not getting as much money as the players are.
This is true.
So they're thinking that, I don't have to listen to you, all right? I'm the one driving that fancy vehicle out there in the fancy cars and wearing all the gold chains and such. Well, I got news for you. The case here is simple. No leadership from a guy that has, literally no interest on the court, but has interest in the team and used to have interest in the office. But now the office ain't going to back them. They're backing these multi-millionaire crybabies and I'm going to tell you right now, It's going to start happening more and more. I'm going to tell you that.
Is this a case of
a trend? This is a trend.
Mo money, mo problems.
Yeah.
And it absolutely could be. So what I do have to tell you is that last season, there appeared to be a rift between the front office in Memphis and Jenkins as the head coach of this team, because the GM for the team came in and said, hey, we're cleaning house with the coaching staff. We're keeping you, but we're replacing all of your assistants, and they've brought him in from all over the world. Of course, now the new acting head coach is Tomasi Salo. He's a Finnish coach who is taken off in huge popularity in Europe by implementing some of those new moves that we talked about, pick and roll schemes, the pacing, the offensive rebounding platform, and it's worked to some effect for the Grizzlies. But there was a very big indication with Jenkins firing that Jenkins had lost the locker room. And going into this, like I said, losing 9 in a row against teams with winning records, you're skidding down the stretch, you're coasting into the postseason instead of hitting the gas into the postseason. You've dropped from the 2 spot to the 8 spot, quite frankly. And going in, there's not a lot of confidence that Jenkins is the guy, because in Memphis, they are not satisfied with just making the postseason. We talked about this roster. Ja Morant is an all-star. Desmond Bane and the development that he's had, and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey being a huge, just a huge persona down low for this squad. There's a lot of potential in this team, even adopting some European offensive strategies. I'm cool with changing the game, but it looked like they needed a new lead at the top. Isalo looked like he was going to be the guy. It was almost like this was a move that was in the making for a whole season now. We just didn't really see it, but the GM saw it and the front office saw it as well. So here's the deal. They fired the head coach. Okay, they bring in Isalo to lead the team. Where is Memphis right now? Well, as of time of this recording on Thursday, they're losers of 4 straight. They've lost 8 out of their last 10 games. They're in the 8th seed right now. Their lead is big enough, Tracy, where I don't see them falling any further than the 8. But the 8 is a play-in game. Okay, you want to be in the top 6 seeds to not have to worry about play-in business, okay? And for Memphis to be able to do that, they're currently in a 3-way tie for that 6th spot, but based on head-to-head and tiebreakers, they sit in the 8 hole right now. So there's a big traffic jam right there in the middle of the standings. There is absolutely still time to right the ship here with, I think it's 5 games left in the regular season.
Yep.
But Memphis is going to have to start turning it around now. But that's not the only controversy surrounding this team right now, because their star player, the face of the franchise, is in hot water yet again. This week, the story coming out, the NBA looking in to Grizzlies superstar Ja Morant for using his hands and arms to mimic a gun shooting motion toward the Golden State Warriors bench in Tuesday night's game between the Western Conference rivals. When have we heard this one before? Ja Morant has been suspended multiple times for actions involving guns, whether it's finger guns or whether it's actual live firearms. Whenever he went on Instagram Live on social media, hanging out with his friends in the car, and I get it. Back in the day, when you looked at professional athletes, the idea was these are role models for the kids. Kids grow up, they buy your basketball cards, they buy your posters, they go watch your games, they invest in you because they want to grow up to be not only like you, but maybe even better than you. But in this day and age, it's hard to make that argument that NBA superstars, whether it's Ja Morant or anyone else out there, is specifically out there to be a role model for you, a child, or your child to rise up and continue playing the game there. I think that part of it is lost. But when you talk about Jenkins losing the locker room, and now with a new head coach, you have Ja Morant go out and do something like this, and I've heard the speech before. I've heard him come on the sports talk shows before and say, I'm sorry, I need to change. I need to look at my actions. I need to do better. Well, I don't know when that time is coming because that time still has not came yet.
What a role model. What an absolute role model.
And he's
Mark.
a great basketball player. No doubts about it. I've seen him. I've seen him live. I've watched him in the FedEx Forum. He is a great basketball player. Role model leaves something to be determined there, but it's really, really sad because you're the face of this franchise. You're a bazillionaire with all the endorsements, all the deals, and all of your abilities still in your prime, even coming back from injury, this isn't leadership. And this is not helping a team that is, for all intents and purposes, skidding their way out of the postseason before it even begins.
Mark, this is nothing new to being a bad boy, whether it's in the NBA, which the Pistons were glorified back in the day. And
but they weren't doing this.
But that's the whole deal right now. With America the way it is right now, and not only the United States, but around the world, this is a very sensitive time, especially when you mimic something with a hand gesture or the real deal like he's done, like you said.
Yes.
Saying that you got a weapon on you. That's a very sensitive, and especially in Memphis of all things, okay, where we know what has happened in that area, and they're going to let this be okie dokie. This isn't the first. This isn't the second. This is the third go around, and this is something that has to come to a halt. Yes, he plays great basketball. That's so, but is he above the law? No. He is not. And you can't do that. You go down the road and you point your hand at somebody, you're going to get pulled over by the cops and you're going to go to jail. Okay. You do this on television in front of a jillion people. And
guess what the kids are going to do?
Yes, exactly.
Hey,
thank you very much.
And all the celebrities will say, "Hey, I'm not a role model. No. I'm a grown man. I'm an adult.
Doesn't matter.
Don't look at me as a role model. It doesn't matter. I see kids on the playground trying to do 360 dunks because Ja Morant can do that. Yeah. And it's awesome. And it looks cool. And now he's pointing finger guns at people on TV. He's on Instagram Live where, kids are on social media. They're all over social media. Everybody saw that video, okay? Mm-hmm. But here's the deal. And yes, I do have to tell you that making that gesture in a game does get you a technical foul. It's really a slap on the wrist, really. Yeah. But here's the deal. The NBA has suspended him twice for incidents regarding real firearms. This is the third occurrence. I know this was not a real gun inside the Golden State Warriors arena because this would be a much different story like Gilbert Arenas back in the day. However, do you see the NBA? We talked about Adam Silver. We talk about Adam Silver a lot on this show, more than we probably should. But him trying to save face and save his legacy as commissioner of the NBA, you almost think he has to act here, right? Does Ja Morant get suspended here following the investigation? Yes or no?
Absolutely yes. He's gone.
And then, if yes, which I also think it's yes, is that a death sentence for Memphis looking ahead to the postseason this season?
I think you got to look above and beyond any play. I don't care whatever happens to the team from here on out. I can't believe, for one thing, I can't believe the front office didn't do something to him. That's what just really mystifies me. And I know this has $1 billion or zillion, billion, or whatever it is, has major
it's all about
impact.
Money.
Moneyball. What?
I'm telling you, I'm hot. I'm as hot as they come.
So, and I'm going to tell you what, if they don't do something about this, and that's why I'm just about quit watching NBA. I'll be honest with you. And if so, come on, get a backbone.
Well, I'm sure that you're not the only one that holds that opinion as well, and I think that it's been detrimental to the game for sure. So let us know your thoughts on the Ja Morant situation. Of course, Memphis, the closest NBA team to our KVRE listening area, and I've seen Grizzlies games many times. I still love going. It is a great fan experience, but now the question remains, are they going to do something with Ja Morant short term and then going into the offseason and next season also long term? When we come back, we've got some local roundup stories coming your way. Don't go anywhere. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition concludes in a moment on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
And we're back. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com. He is Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver, and our final segment of the show is traditionally known as our local roundup. And Tracy, it is my understanding that you had quite the day at the Arkansas Derby last weekend. Didn't see any funny hats on you, by the way, but it looked like that your picks played out to fruition on Saturday, don't you think?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And if you happen to venture on Track Talk or was listening to me that morning, because we came on early with 14 races, we had a real good day, a real good weekend. And I think a lot of it had to do, of course, the weather helped out a little bit. We got some rain, but then the sun always shines at Oaklawn Park. That's something that Terry Wallace used to say back in the day, 100 years ago, and they brought back some of the old sayings over the weekend. It was really cool, nostalgic and everything, and it felt good. But it was just one of those days where everything clicked, as they say. And actually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but Arkansas Derby was special, even for those. And I encourage everybody, man, even if you're not into wager or anything like that, come out and look at some real athletes. These horses are unbelievable. We had some of the best ones in the world Saturday, and we still have the best horse in the world, Torpedo Anna. She's at Oaklawn still and going to be running in the next 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So this is something to behold. These are real athletes, and the jockeys are okay too, but just to come out and watch these spectacular athletes work and do their job and just want to run. I get thrills every time I go down what they call the apron right there along the wall. But yeah, I had a really good weekend, and now 3 of the horses that were in the Arkansas Derby are going to go further into the Kentucky Derby. It's a point system from the major races that they have at Oaklawn. So one of the local favorites, of course, that we were all going for was Colt Battle. There's a great story on him behind that, but then also Sandman that ended up winning it. Comes from a long racing line of the industry with Mark Cassidy and such. And then, of course, you got Publisher, Steve Asmussen, a friend of mine for years and years, who's the number one trainer forever. I mean, he's had more wins than any other trainer in history. And I sat there actually with him right after he got through saddling Publisher, but these 3 are going to be going in there. And something history in the making, just like last year. A local favorite. So we'll see what happens with it, Mark. It was a good day. Weather worked out. And a lot of fun, too, man. A lot of kids, a lot of food. A lot of food, dude. I mean, I went to only 6 different stands and got food, but it was a good one. So there will be a horse representing Oaklawn at the Kentucky Derby, and we'll talk about that. It's the first Saturday in May, which is 4 weeks away. So we'll see what happens.
There's a lot of action happening over at Majestic Park this week.
Oh, man.
In Hot Springs, spring baseball begins. I've got a 6-year-old in a competitive T-ball league, and I'm quite excited to see what the Oakland Athletics will do. First game is on Monday. At National Park College, lots of records have been falling this week. Congratulations first and foremost to head softball coach Autumn Wyatt. She picked up her 100th victory as head coach of the Nighthawks in her 4th season at NP. Coach Wyatt has developed a championship caliber team. The team has advanced to the regional district championship and the district championship game in the past 2 seasons. Only one place to go from here as the team looks for its first national tournament berth this season. Good luck to the Nighthawks the rest of the way. Sophomore center fielder Taylor Southern recently became the team's all-time triples leader. She is really, really good at getting on base, and her quick feet help get her around the bases and taking down any record at NPC after baseball and softball has been around for as long as it has is truly remarkable. On the baseball side, a couple of big records have fallen recently as well. Congratulations to Brian Rates. The Dallas, Texas native is the sophomore ace for the Nighthawks pitching staff this season and recently broke the all-time wins record at NPC, which is been tough to do, although we've seen it in the past couple of years, taking down legendary Eli Hutcherson with his 11th win. Rates now the all-time wins holder, and now he is 27 strikeouts away from becoming the all-time leader in Ks at NPC. Sophomore second baseman Q Walton recently had 4 stolen bases in a game. It was a single game record for NPC. Walton, the Atlanta, Georgia native, is now 2 stolen bases away from becoming NPC's all-time leader, taking down Malvern legend Demias Jimerson, a big name that we're really familiar with back from the Fountain Lake days, with him being a 2-sport athlete on the football side and on the baseball side. So a lot of records falling at NPC, some records still to fall coming up. Probably we'll talk about it on next week's show. But National Park College in action this weekend. Nighthawk softball celebrates Sophomore Day on Sunday. That game will be played at Majestic Park against North Arkansas College. 6 sensational sophomores being honored for Coach Autumn Wyatt's squad. And Nighthawk baseball, due to weather, has been moved to Monday. They'll play a doubleheader against ASU Mid-South, games at 12 and 3 o'clock. Both softball and baseball can be found online at np.edu/live on the Nighthawk Network.
And Lance Rinstrom, he's part of the, of course, Arkansas Travs,
yes,
won the Texas League. He's going to be joining us next Saturday on the show, of course, kicking off the season for the Travelers. And also, he's going to be around the area. He's going to be over at Majestic Park and around the area. And so, yeah.
Love Lance.
We love Lance, man. He's going to be, he's the communication director for the Arkansas Travelers. Dickie Stevens Park was active Tuesday night where the Razorbacks had a big game.
Yes, they did.
They're back against Missouri this weekend. So we got a lot of things going. And look, hey, it's been a big week.
And they swept Vanderbilt last weekend. We were worried for nothing. The Arkansas Razorbacks baseball team, smooth sailing straight. Hey, you're going to lose a game every once in a while.
Yeah, that's that simple. I mean, but another thing about when he played the Grambling, he played everybody on the bench too. So this is
it's all about getting on base as much as you can. Just like Moneyball. That's our show. I'm Mark Oliver. He's Tracy Simpson. We'll see you next Saturday morning at 10 a.m. This has been Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition.
Game over.